The need to conclude all election-related matters in court before a candidate takes the oath of office has again been brought to the front burner. This came to the fore at an unveiling of a policy brief on the outcome of the 2023 election petition tribunal with some far-reaching recommendations for future elections. The policy is a painstaking effort by the Clean Foundation, which deployed 38 election observers to 18 states of the country, including the Federal Capital Territory, to observe proceedings during the 2023 general elections. Executive Director, Clean Foundation Peter Gad, and the Programs Director of the Foundation Salahuddin Hashem said electoral candidates usually use state machinery to finance election petition cases once they are sworn in, and in instances where the elected candidate has stayed in office for some period and is removed by the court, there is a possibility that he must have wasted state resources. They also say there is a need to improve the judicial process in Nigeria, especially those involved in the electoral petition.
Is the fact that they think strongly that most of these cases should be concluded before swearing in, that nobody becomes so powerful and is sitting in the office and influencing electoral process in his favor or in favor of other persons. And then, of course, I'm sure all of us followed the incidents in Plateau, Zamfara, and Kano. You equally notice that Kano in particular and Plateau partially were almost going to have a total collapse of rules and rule of law, and issue of conflict was brewing because people felt that the judiciary or the Court of Appeal in particular did not pay attention to some of these issues. And so Nigerians are worried around the issue of technicality. Nigerians are worried around issue of pre-election matters. Nigeria want to have a clear definition. What are pre-election issues? What are election issues? And what are post-election issues that need to be addressed? And so quite a number of issues came up. How the lawyers in the court were relating with the justice, and how interaction is going on with the general public, and where people's opinion matter or not. But at the end of the day, I think one of the most fundamental worry that people have is that how do the judiciary itself enhance peace and stability? Because if your judgment is going to increase conflict, is going to increase, divide people along some of these divides that we have, what are those things that you're going to look into, and what are those things?
What we found a little bit challenging was the manual filing process that made it very difficult for us to access information. If we had a digital process, and perhaps at some point we will get some very good best practice that we have actually seen happening in different locations, and how we can actually leverage on that. So this particular manual process actually didn't allow tribunal secretaries to easily compile their documentation. And this also suggested that for us we had to go through some kind of tedious process to harvest.
The stakeholders also recommend the amendments of the 2022 Electoral Act to ensure that all electoral disputes before the court are concluded before the swearing of a candidate, and also judicial independence and adequate funding for the judiciary. They also advocated for the appointment of judicial officers by the National Judicial Council without interference from the executive.
Of course, there are so many gaps in some of our, laws which needs to be breached to give confidence to the general populace so that they can trust the judiciary. It's not because judiciary do not want to be trusted or they don't do what they are supposed to do, but because they have to do it in accordance with the existing law. And whatever is the existing law is not just being applied in that manner that they think it ought to be applied. The existing law must also take into consideration the facts that are placed before them, because that fact must correlate with the existing law. You see that there are principles of law. When you look at the principle of law, you talk about non-compliance, you need to prove that this person has not complied. When you talk about majority, that the person did not get majority of votes and is being announced to be elected, you know, you have to prove how you have arrived that that person has not gotten the majority votes. And to prove it, you